January 2014, there is a new version of HealthOne being distributed. In this, the second of a series of videos, I am going to show you some of the changes to the drug module that we have implemented. The change in particular that I'm going to demonstrate is PRN Repeats. This is a new feature. I will show you now what I mean by this feature. It is a common practice when you're entering repeat drugs for a patient that some of the drugs in your list of repeats should not be dispensed every month, but only on a PRN basis. We have now developed a function to manage this. So for this patient who has diabetes, I'm going to give them into their repeats some Accu-Check Aviva test strips. I'm going to drag that into the repeats there. And I'm going to change the dosage here first of all, and because the test strips have an unusual dosage, I'm going to enter a free text dosage. So I'm going to say use as needed, and I'm going to say I want 1 bottle to be dispensed, and I'm going to enter that into the repeats here. So rather than actually do that, what I might want to do is do that, and having done the dosage, I have an option up here in the repeats to change the repeat from a normal repeat to a PRN drug. Do you see that? You can change it from a normal to a PRN repeat. And we will now show you what the difference is. So we'll say OK to this. It is a PRN repeat. And it goes in here, and it appears in a different color altogether. It's a yellow background to this to demonstrate that is a PRN repeat. Let's say you give this patient also on a fairly regular base some Laxos, 300 mils, and they're to take 10 mils twice a day, PRN. Okay, so I'm going to change that from a normal repeat to a PRN drug repeat. Click OK. So here we have 2 drugs now that are PRNs. I can also change a drug directly in here from a normal repeat to a PRN repeat by editing it, by clicking on the edit thing here and change it up here. So you don't have to actually re-prescribe it, you can do it directly in the repeat list. Now I have a situation whereby if I prescribe all, the PRN drugs will, by default, not be included in the repeat. Do you see that? So they've all been prescribed, but the PRN drugs have been omitted. So I'll repeat that, so I delete that, and I'll say OK. And if I wanted to repeat them all, this here is prescribe all, including the PRN drugs. So I could do that very easily, repeat all, including the PRN drugs. But my default action, if I click on this button, is that I will prescribe all, excluding PRN drugs. I can also change them all to generics if I wish. Okay, so I'm now going to do, if you just click on this, it will prescribe them all. This is whether you prescribe the PRN drugs by default or not is an option in the Tools Options Prescription Manager up here. Prescription Manager, it's an option. And that option is PRN drugs. Exclude PRN drugs by default. Do you see that? If I unticked that, the PRN drugs will be included by default. But the default tick here is for it to be ticked. So now I have a situation whereby all my repeat drugs have been divided into 2 types, normal repeats and PRN repeats.